Keep yourself in the loop of everything football. Listen to Alex and Jeremiah on the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast.
Hello there, I'm Jeremiah.
I am Alex, always and forever here.
Dedicated to college and NFL football. The latest football news on and off the field. NFL draft trade rumors. We've got you covered from the NFL, Big Ten, SEC, Big 12, Pac-12, ACC, and everything else in between. Listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast.
Thank you for tuning into the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast, where we talk the latest news, rumors, and games of the NFL and college football to the latest signings, this year's breakout stars, and all the news in between. As always, I'm Alex.
And I am Jeremiah.
You know, I do the sports show before I do the football show, and so I get here like 6:45 roughly, you know. I didn't get to start the show until like 7:10, 7:15 because I could not stop sneezing. I was just in here sneezing by myself. I was like,
in this studio?
Yeah, and I was saying bless you to myself. I was like sneezing like 8 times in a row. I'm like, bless you. You know, like, because it was so significant. I was like, man, Jeremiah's going to be like, man, did you even start the show? What time did you start it? Because I was sitting there sneezing. Like, I couldn't start. I wasn't going to start the show and then just, you know, and have to start over.
Welcome to the Ghost Factory.
Exactly, yeah. And then go, start over. Welcome to, yeah, exactly. So it took me a little while, but yeah. I got going.
Every time I come in here, I always ask you or Ben, what time did you guys start? I always get here at 8 and you guys are still in the studio. I'm like, really? No, I'm kidding.
We like to talk.
Yeah, I know. Don't get me wrong. We go a little overboard at this show, too.
Yeah, it's okay. It's like poor Anthony. Anthony, whenever he sits in that seat, he's good, but when he sits in that seat, I think, on the right, he gets like
I always wonder why he always sits by the orange microphone. No, I always wonder why he always sits by the red one every time that all three of us are here.
Because he gets a sniffing
nose I always wonder that. I'm like, me, I don't care. It doesn't have no effect on me. But
well, I mean, if he's here before you, he's going to sit in that one.
Yeah, I know. I always wonder why he doesn't move. Because sometimes he does move there.
Sometimes. It's the runny nose. He tries to counter it.
Okay. I always wonder that, but me, it has no effect on me whatsoever. Like,
yeah, I think it's. I don't know.
I'm just versatile like that.
Yeah, you don't get that runny nose. I get it. I'm with you. Well, anyways, on today's show, we were talking last night, Monday Night Football game between the Baltimore Ravens and the New England Patriots. We'll be talking some coaching shakeups in the NFC, and we'll be talking some news of London games. Because they announced some of the games for next year. I bet you can bet one team's going to be there, and it rhymes with Jaguars. Because they're there every single year.
Aren't they there till like 2020 or something like that?
Yeah, they just keep signing the deals. So
just move to London already.
Yeah, just move to London.
Just move. Like, no one goes to games in Jacksonville anyway.
You're not wrong.
Well, apparently no one goes to games at the Coliseum anymore for an NFL game, but we will talk about that later.
Well, I mean, they do and they don't. Anyway, yeah, we'll talk about it. But you know what? I always do the Monday night review. Why don't you start it today?
Yeah.
Go ahead. Why don't you start it today?
Start what? The Monday night review?
Yeah, I'll throw it to you.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You throw me a little curveball there. Okay.
Yeah, I always do the Monday
night. All right, well, last night, New England Patriots defeated the Baltimore Ravens 30-23.
Yes, sir.
And this game was actually close.
But at the same time, it wasn't.
It wasn't.
And it shouldn't have been.
No, it shouldn't have been. At halftime, the Patriots looked like they were on their way to having a blowout win. 16-3. Then all of a sudden, they actually extended the lead to 23-3. Then all of a sudden, the Ravens got a couple of scores there in the third quarter.
Yes.
23-10, and I was like, okay. Then 17-23, and I was like, okay, now this is a ball game.
Yeah, so pretty much what happened was, so there's a safety to start the game, then LeGarrette Blount had a touchdown. It was 9-0 pretty much by the end of the first, right? Like you said at halftime, it was 16-3 after Malcolm Mitchell had a touchdown, but at one point, 23-3, right? What had happened was, okay, so They score Martellus Benedict's 19-yard touchdown pass from Tom Brady. Tom Brady had a great game. Special teams did not, and that is this reason. They go on to stop the Ravens again. Again, it was 23-3. They stop the Ravens deep, like behind their own 30 probably. And force them to punt, or at least maybe their 40, because they punted all the way down to about the 10-yard line of the Patriots. Well, didn't go so well for them in that aspect. Rookie corner and kick returner Cyrus Jones allowed it to hit his foot. Rolled all the way to the 2 to 3-yard line and was recovered by the Ravens. So then they score, I think, a couple plays later on a pass to Darren Waller. Okay. On the ensuing kickoff, the ball goes to Matthew Slater, who that guy's lights out. He's like perennially, if they had like a number one all-star for special teamers, it'd be Matthew Slater, right? That guy's great.
Probably one of the best special teamers around.
Yeah, he does it all. He tackles, he goes and gets the ball, he runs kicks back at times. He fumbles the kickoff. Then they get the ball inside the 20 again. A few plays later, Kenneth Dixon has an 8-yard touchdown pass from Joe Flacco. So just like that, within a 3-minute span of game time, it went from 3-23 to 17-23.
Yeah, and then these turnovers came back to, well, they didn't really cost them, but they should have kind of cost them in a way. Mm-hmm. I think the Ravens actually did play well throughout the fourth quarter as well. This is probably one of the best defenses in the league that the Patriots were facing. And then after the game was 17-23, Patriots had trouble scoring on the Ravens until Tom Brady found Chris Hogan 79 touchdown pass to make it 30-20 with a little bit more than 6 minutes to go in the fourth, and that pretty much sealed the deal there. That was a really beautiful pass too by Brady.
And that 79-yard touchdown pass was the majority, in a sense, of his 129 yards receiving. I'm sure career high for him on 5 receptions only, too. So a good day for him. Julian Edelman, 73 yards receiving. You had James White out of the backfield, 81 yards receiving. Martellus Bennett, 70 yards receiving. And that score kind of helping pick up the slack that Gronk left behind. And, I mean, the Ravens did get a field goal late. Justin Tucker had one blocked in this technically. He had one blocked.
Yeah, he did. He had a block.
So I think
it was blocked in the first or second
something
quarter.
Like that. So technically speaking, he had his first miss, quote unquote, of the year. Even though that's not really on him. He was a little interesting on some kicks. So he's a lot closer to. It wasn't as down the middle as he normally is. But anyway, they get a field goal with just above 2 minutes left, which was actually pretty good because you want to get that in and you get the extra stoppage in time. But they get it with actually 2:03, so just above 2 minutes. But they did not get the onside kick. LeGarrette Blount finishes the game with a first down run on fourth down. They're kind of in that spot where they kick a field goal, but you're at the possibility of it being blocked. They could punt it, but again, it could be blocked if they really wanted to. It was about 11 seconds on the clock, and they ran for a first down and fourth down because if they turned it over, they're on the 35 anyway, so it would have been a long pass. We've seen him do it before, but Flacco didn't get a shot. He played pretty well, though, 324 and 2 for him. Only 42 yards rushing, though, from their team. Not very good. Again, they were behind early, though, so they were throwing a lot. 95 is a team from New England. LeGarrette Blount, the leading rusher, 72 yards and a score for him.
Yeah. And the thing I want to take away from this game, the Ravens here, they're also fighting for a playoff spot here, for the AFC North title. Mm-hmm. Again, with the Steelers, the Steelers currently hold the lead right now.
Yes, sir. With 3 games left, the Ravens have the Steelers, the Bengals. Well, let's put it this way, in this order. They have the Steelers on Christmas and the Bengals on New Year's Day to end the year. And following this game, they are going to face, as I look it up, I forgot after the show, they are facing the Eagles. So Eagles, Steelers, Bengals to end the year.
Really tough schedule.
Yes.
Very tough schedule. And it's going to be tough for me to put the Ravens there in the playoffs. I think the only way for me to think that they'll make it is if they happen to win out and beat the Steelers.
Yes.
Or if Denver kind of falls back a little bit, which I think could happen.
Yeah, the Denvers have the Patriots this week.
Exactly. And, getting back to the Patriots here, I think they're locked and loaded as the number 1 seed. I don't think the Chiefs or the Raiders are going to get it. It's hard for me to see New England lose at this point of the season.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you on that. Yeah, it's hard for me to see them. I mean, their schedule, the remainder of the year, it's kind of, they have Denver, they have the Jets, and they have the Dolphins.
You know who does have a tough schedule to end the year? Not the Ravens and the Broncos. Broncos have the Patriots, the Chiefs, and the Raiders to end the year. Wow.
Yeah, that's a tough matchup for the end of the year. And like you're saying, in regards to the Steelers being ahead of the Ravens right now, they have a pretty kind of iffy, tough schedule too to end the year. They have the Bengals, the Ravens, and the Browns. So it's going to be a tough end of the year.
That's going to be a tough
for the AFC North.
That's going to be a tough game for the Steelers to end the year.
Very much so.
And the Browns could get their first win.
Oh, stop!
I'm kidding.
Stop it! Don't just stop it. Anyways, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this shapes up. I give it to the Patriots. The AFC North, I really don't know what's going to happen. And then I could possibly see the Broncos falling out of there.
Yeah, the reason
opening it up to maybe whatever team doesn't get first place in the AFC
Yeah,
North.
because the Broncos, their offense is just, they can't run the ball, man. Like, the offense is like nowhere. To me, they're kind of turning into like the Minnesota Vikings right now. They're kind of similar. They have trouble running the ball. They do have success passing, at times. But I feel like they rely too heavily on that defense now.
Yeah, and when it's on the field as often as it is, it's tough for them to be as dominant as they were, and they're having injury problems. And, yeah, definitely understandable as to why they're looking the way they're looking this year.
Yeah, and they have a couple of questionable coaching calls in the past couple of games. So.
Yeah, interesting way to look at that. All right, well, let's take our first break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk some coaching changes.
Yes, a big one.
Questionable coaching calls.
And one that finally happened.
Yes, one that finally happened. So we're going to take our first break and be right back to talk about that in just a minute here at the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Welcome back to the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast, and we have some really big news that broke actually when we got off the air yesterday.
Yeah,
a couple hours.
Yeah, a couple
hours when we went off the air. The Los Angeles Rams, they past couple games they haven't been successful this year. Let's just say that.
No,
a lot of fans have stopped showing up to the Coliseum.
Yeah,
and some people on Twitter were like, maybe they should move this team to LA. Oh wait, that already did happen. Well, the Rams made a splash yesterday. They had to. They made the biggest splash. I think that should have been done a long time ago. They finally parted ways.
Yes,
with Jeff Fisher on Monday.
Poor old Jeffy Fisher.
Well, he had all this talk about I would not go 7-9. That's some 7-9 BS.
He didn't know. He said he didn't want to go. He was trying to implant a formula, a philosophy.
Yeah, I know. I got that. It's just easy to make fun of him ever since he said that because he can't even go 7-9. And
because he went 4-9.
He went 4-9. And you know what? Something I do want to point out before we move on. Since Jeff Fisher has left.
Yes.
There's one team out there that only has a one win, right? That's the 49ers. And who was that one win against?
The Rams.
And guess what? Since Jeff Fisher has left, the Niners don't have a win against an official head coach this year.
Oh, that's pretty good. I didn't think about that. That's funny.
That's something that Matt Mayoko tweeted. He's the 49ers beat reporter for GSMC area. I just thought that was funny.
That makes me laugh. That's good.
That just made me laugh. I just laugh.
Oh, I like
shout
that.
out to Matt Mayek. We need to get him on the show one day.
Yeah.
All right. But anyway, yeah, the Rams have fired Jeff Fisher and, COO Kevin Demoff. He said it was an organizational failure.
Mm-hmm.
And he just said it was solely a performance-related issue. So this happened a week after the extension got announced for Jeff Fisher. Remember, it was that 5-year whatever.
Yeah, but that was done at the beginning of the year.
Yeah, and I get that, but it didn't get announced till a week before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's funny. Weirdly enough, didn't get announced until last week.
Yeah. So special teams coordinator Jim Fossil.
Yes, sir.
He's actually the son of Jim Fossil. He's actually going to be the interim coach for the final 3 games, especially this Thursday against the Seahawks. Well, I'm not surprised that they did it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just surprised they did it on a short week.
Yeah, because they play again on Thursday. They play the Seahawks on Thursday.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact. So yeah, I'm kind of interested as to why they did that.
It would have been funny
if
the Rams fired Jeff Fisher on Thursday. You know how they have that little slogan, anything could happen on Thursday. There you go. Yeah. And something I do want to point out is that the Falcons, they played the Rams this past Sunday at the Coliseum. The Falcons scored more touchdowns in one game at the Coliseum than the Rams have in all year. That is embarrassing. That's flat out embarrassing.
Yeah, there's a lot of embarrassing with the Rams this year, honestly. So, that's unfortunate. I do like the Rams, but that's just how the way the cookie crumbles, I guess.
But I do think the Rams is going to be an attractive place now. I do think it's going to draw a lot of really big-time coaches because say what you want about the Rams, but this team actually has a lot of talent.
Yeah, I made a mention of it. I think I was talking to my brother about it, I think. Well, Jeff Fisher is a good head coach. It's just he's never quite been able to at least pair with whatever GM he has to build a consistently from top to bottom good team. He can coach talent. They have a good young quarterback, it looks like. Need some help with the O-line. They have a solid, good running back. There's a lot of defensive pieces, but they couldn't win any games, whether that's his coaching style or what. He's been a good coach with the Titans. Took a Titans team to the Super Bowl.
Well, he actually led the Rams to the Super Bowl win too when he was with the coach when he was the Titans coach. I'm kidding.
He didn't lead them to that,
but he did help them.
Maybe.
I'm kidding.
That was a very very close game too.
It was. That was actually a really good Super Bowl.
That was one of the closer '90s Super Bowls too.
Yeah.
But he's a good coach. It's just he can't seem to put it all together, and I'm pretty sure he's a defensive guy. So I don't know if maybe he goes to coordinating. I don't know if he retires because remember he was out of coaching for a little while after. Yeah, I
think he was out for about a year or two.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know if Jeff Fisher is ever going to get a head coaching job again. I think it's going to be a while. I don't know if Jeff Fisher is going to want to be a coordinator. I don't think he wants to.
Yeah, understandable.
Because he's been a coach for mainly
a head coach since about 90-something.
Yes, for almost 2 decades now.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be tough for me to see if Jeff Fisher ever gets a head coaching job again. I just feel like his philosophy just doesn't work in today's NFL.
Yeah.
It's because when he started coaching with the Houston Oilers, I think that's when he started.
I think they were the Titans by that
point. Were the Titans by that point?
Yes, I think so.
I'm gonna have to double check.
I can look it
up
for you real quick while you talk. Yeah.
But ever since Jeff Fisher took that job for the Titans, it was a whole different NFL then too. It was still defensive.
Defense first, yeah.
Defense first, and then run football second, and then now we're in a passing league, and Jeff Fisher just never had that. He just never had that quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
He did have Vince Young, but that ended pretty poorly.
Yeah.
The best quarterback he ever had was Steve McNair, but that was early 2000s.
Yeah, that's true.
And Steve McNair was a heck of a quarterback.
Well, McNair was there in the late 90s.
Yeah.
So yeah, actually, it was the Oilers their last couple of seasons because he was the interim head coach, and they took over for them. I think the year they switched over.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah, because he was part of the team that drafted Steve McNair, and then he inherited Eddie George, and so he knows how to have young quarterbacks and good running backs.
Yeah, he does. It's just that I just feel like he never had the chance to work with a GM that has the same philosophy as him. And I do think that the fact that he was in LA kind of really hurt him in a way because, when you have a professional team in LA, you're held to a higher standard than most teams.
Just because you're the limelight always.
Exactly. You're held to a higher standard than you are in a smaller city. It's a lot different to be a coach and lose in St. Louis than being a coach and lose in LA. When you're not drawing fans to that stadium in LA,
that's a problem.
It's a problem.
It's going to not going to want them to make them build a new one.
No, and they have to make a splash. They got a stadium in Inglewood opening up in 2019. Mm-hmm. But who will be the next head coach for the Rams? I do think there's going to be a lot of big names.
A lot of candidates.
They're going to go after. One of them, I think, I wouldn't be surprised to happen.
I would be surprised if he left.
I would be too. Personally. But then again, you are talking about LA. You are talking about an owner with a lot of money. I wouldn't be surprised if Jim Harbaugh was offered a fat contract to come to the LA Rams. I do think it would be great for the Rams, but then again, it's tough for me to see Harbaugh leave college again because he's doing so well with Michigan right now. Mm-hmm. But if Jim Harbaugh does happen to go back to the NFL, how long is he going to be there? Is he going to be there for more than 4 years? Because he hasn't stayed to a team for more than 4 seasons.
Yeah, he's very much kind of in and out at times. It'll be interesting to see exactly who they get for this position. I don't know who it would be, honestly.
But, I do think they're going to get their guy because they have a lot of great talent. They got a young quarterback. They got a really good young running back. I think who can be a top 5 running back in the league if he has the right team around him. They just need to build offensive line. Mm-hmm. They need to get some receivers there. And they're in L.A. So I think all that combined, I think they can get their guy. I do think the Rams can get a really good head coach. And they need to get it quick because they're in a tough division.
Yes, they are. They're in a division with a couple solid teams that just aren't playing very well, and the Seahawks who are playing bad but are good. And
they're good and bad, which is weird, but yeah.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. One fun fact before we move on. In his first 2 seasons with Tennessee as the Oilers, because they turned to the Titans, but he compiled a record of, guess what, 16-16.
16 average. Oh, wow, average. Just like Jeff Fisher's.
Give him that 500.
Just like Jeff Fisher's coaching career average.
Yes, sir. All right, we're going to go ahead and take our last break. We're going to be right back. We're going to talk some London football news. Just a moment here. So we'll be right back at the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast.
Are you looking for help for your fantasy football team? Check out the GSMC Fantasy Football Podcast. Get today's best advice on who to start, who to sit, even who you should draft. From sleeper picks to red-hot lineups, they got it all covered for you. That's gsmcpodcast.com/fantasy-football-podcast. We'll cover traditional leagues, dynasty, PPR, even IDP leagues. When you need fantasy help, there's just one show to hit up. Don't forget to like them on Facebook and follow them on Twitter. Visit gsmcpodcast.com for more info.
And we are back here at the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast. So we're going to end the show talking about the up-to-date now for next year London NFL games that were announced, I believe today, as a matter of fact. So as of right now, they have the span of games when they might be and when the dates they might be. So either the week 3 or 4, either the 24th of September or the 1st of October, we'll have the Baltimore Ravens taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars at Wembley Stadium. Either week 3 or 4, so whichever one, I believe probably the other one is not, and the same thing with the date, either the 24th of September or the 10th, or the 1st of October. You have the Saints and the Dolphins, and that's at Wembley Stadium. And then we have 2 games at Twickenham Stadium as well. We saw one game there last year. Same thing with this. If not, one will be the other. So 7th or 8th week, either the 22nd of December or the 29th, of October or the 29th of October. You have the Vikings and the Browns. And then again, either the 7th or the 8th, the 22nd or the 29th of October. You have the Cardinals and the Rams that we just mentioned so much about. So you're getting 2 of the worst teams in the NFL, actually 3 of the worst teams in the NFL playing in London next year. Jaguars, Cleveland Browns, Los Angeles Rams.
There you go, London. There you go.
There you go. You get the cream of the crop because you also get the Ravens. That's not bad. You get the Saints. Not bad. You get the Vikings, and they played there a few years ago. You get the Cardinals, who played there this year. I think. I think.
Yeah. No. Yeah, they did. And man, the Ravens, Jacksonville. Man, these matchups. Who comes up with these matchups, man?
I think everybody has to do it eventually. So I'm not sure. Personally, I'd have to look. So the London schedule is featuring those games, right? Twickenham Stadium is actually an English rugby stadium. That's why it's smaller, I mentioned to you. But 3 of these teams will play their first regular season games ever in London. Arizona Cardinals, the visiting team against the NFC West rivals, the Los Angeles Rams, the Baltimore Ravens. 3 of those teams all will be playing their first game ever there. The Miami Dolphins will be playing their 4th game there, this time against the Saints, obviously, who are making their 2nd appearance. The Jaguars will play a home game for the 5th consecutive year. So you're looking at the Ravens, obviously. You're looking at the Rams, and you're looking at the Browns as the 3 teams that have never been there. So, pretty cool.
And the Cardinals haven't been there either.
Yeah, okay, the Cardinals.
Yeah.
At the conclusion of the next season, 26 teams will have played there in London since the inception of the London Games series back in 2007. Since that time, the NFL has achieved accelerated growth in the UK in terms of ownership that games that have more than doubled, and the Super Bowl audience has increased more than 75%. You imagine remember how many people tuned in for the Super Bowl? You know, it increased since this 75%. Apparently, the UK fan base has more than 13 million, including close to 4 million avid fans that follow it every single week. Participation in amateur football leagues in the UK has risen by approximately 15% since 2007, with the latest figures from Sport England showing that 40,000 people aged 14 or older play regularly. American football is now recognized in the sport of the UK universities and schools as well. Okay. Pretty cool, right?
Yeah, pretty cool.
Pretty cool.
You know, this is the whole point about playing these games in London, is to expand the game internationally. The NFL is working on getting the regular season game in China. Mm-hmm. I think that they want to aim for 2018 for that one. They played in Mexico this past year, which I thought it looked like a good matchup on paper, but in reality, it was all Raiders versus the Texans.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're going to do that again, but these London games, we know they're always hit and miss. Unfortunately they had to witness a tie in an NFL game.
Yeah,
I know you love those.
I love it. Oh yeah.
There's all these London games are not really great matchups. They're either hit or miss. But you know what? I do expect the Saints and Dolphins game to be pretty competitive. I actually expect the Cardinals and Rams game to be somewhat competitive. It's a divisional game. I do think the Rams, whoever is the coach, is going to try to play them up to their potential. But unfortunately, London is going to have to watch the Browns.
Yeah, the America already doesn't really love doing that, so I feel bad for them across.
I know the NFL is all like, take them,
take
London.
them, just make them the London Browns, make them the England Browns. We don't need that.
Or the London Jaguars.
Yeah, that was rumored for a while.
Yeah, well, they're committed to play there through 2020.
Yeah, I don't know how many teams would really love. We've talked about it before. I don't know how many teams would really love going to play in England because you have guys that have to literally live across the country.
I know. And I remember that Buffalo, they were playing a couple games in Toronto a couple of years ago in December. So I remember that they were doing that, and I don't think some players like doing that because it kind of took the advantage of playing at the Ralph in December. Mm-hmm. But with these international games, they're mainly hit and miss for me because of the matchups.
Yeah, they're always
this is more of a marketing ploy to get more interest in the league, which I think is great that the league wants to get global interest, but at the same time, these matchups are pretty much hit and miss.
Yeah, no, they've always kind of been that way, and that's the downside of it. But that's football, also. There's not always like the greatest matchups every week. Anyways, there was a Jets Niner game this week. That was in America, so you don't always get lucky with the best matchups, but every once in a while you get a solid one. I remember the Steelers played the Vikings a few years ago. That wasn't a bad game. The Steelers lost, so I wasn't too happy, but That was a good matchup. It was a good game. Most of the times these games are enjoyable. I mean, remember even the tie earlier with the Bengals this year? That was an enjoyable game.
It was an enjoyable game, yeah.
I liked it.
That actually was a pretty good game.
And you know me, I like ties.
Well, I know you do.
Because they make me laugh. It's not like I like them because I want people to tie. Like, they make me laugh. I just like
I
them.
hate ties.
I know you do.
I believe in a winner and a loser.
Technically, they're both losers.
Yeah, they are.
Look at it that way.
They're tied for first place, or tied for second place, whichever way you want to look at it.
Yeah, sure. If you look at it that way, sure.
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, anyways, we are done for the day. As always, we'd like to thank you so much for listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast. You will be back tomorrow.
Yes, I will.
Anthony will be back tomorrow. Unfortunately, I am not going to be here tomorrow.
No, you will not.
I have a dentist appointment. I got to take care of my teeth, I think I got a cavity.
I completely understand.
I think I got a cavity. I don't know. But I'll be back on Thursday, obviously. Don't you forget about that. But anyways, as always, we'd like to thank you for listening. For Anthony, I am Alex.
And I'm Jeremiah.
I'll see you guys on Thursday. This fellow here is going to see you tomorrow. You guys enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll talk to you then.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Football Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.